We're going to talk about Bring Me the Horizon, Posthuman, Next Gen. This is officially the 7th studio album, although for some reason 2020's Posthuman Survival Horror, which is the first part of this rumored to be 4-part series, isn't listed in the official lineup. It's listed as like a commercial release, which I don't know what the fuck that is.
Yeah.
So is this actually the 8th album? Not too sure. But for those unfamiliar, Bring Me are a British rock band who have roots in metalcore, but currently blend many, many different styles. This album is 16 songs and it runs about 55 minutes. It opens with the track OST Dream Seeker. There's a few of these OST tracks and they are mostly just instrumentals and interludes. This one's only 19 seconds. It's footsteps and a voice saying, "Let's begin," which kicks you off into the real opening track, which is Utopia. And I immediately got this alternative rock vibe with the guitar, almost a Smashing Pumpkins sound before it completely drops out into some melodic vocals with birds chirping, leading to a poppy emo chorus that pretty much maintains for the remainder of the track. Really fucking threw me off, a lot like the Avenged Sevenfold album did last year, where you just didn't know what the hell was coming at you here.
Yeah, it's definitely a high energy track, big pop punk riffing to kick the album off. I've said it before about this band, but the electronic elements continue to just add layers upon layers to thicken up this music, which, is kind of expected at this point with Bring Me the Horizon. But if you like bands like The Used, this song is probably going to appeal to you. It's a very well-written song.
Yeah. Up next was Kool-Aid. This was the 6th single released prior to the album. It just came out right before the album was released. And this is the Bring Me that I expected to hear. It's more in line with modern metalcore. It's heavier with a clean chorus and explosive breakdown. There's also a quick solo that follows the breakdown. It's one of the standouts on the entire album.
Yeah, so it's funny to hear you mention all the singles that were released. This is one of only 2 that I heard.
Yeah, I think I only heard a couple of them too.
So I didn't realize that was a thing, but this song, I really dig it. It's on my 2024 playlist, which means that I like it enough to listen to it more than once.
Yep, I agree with that.
This one's just straight metalcore goodness. Definitely one of the heavier songs on the album. But if this is your favorite of the singles, the album's probably not going to deliver what you're expecting. So be prepared.
Yep. Next up was Top 10 Statuses That Cried Blood and Hard Left. What is this, like emo hyperpop? Behind it, there's some really cool drum fills and screams going on, but it's drowned out by this very upbeat, happy pop stuff. But Jesus fucking Christ, the breakdown is heavy as fuck and has some Mario coin noises going on too. It's such a weird mix that I'm not sure if I like it yet, but I didn't hate it either. It was just very, very different.
Yeah, definitely an emo punk song, well written. The electronic elements add a ton to this song, and they have a big catchy hook. It's a little too emo for my taste, but it's definitely a well-composed song.
Limousine was next. It features Aurora. Another hard left is they harness their inner Deftones. It's all shoegaze until the breakdown near the end. It sounds like a beast being unleashed.
Yeah, go figure. This is my favorite song on this album.
No way.
It is basically just a fucking Deftones song, but it's a good one. They did a good job. If you're going to mimic the Deftones, do it right.
Yeah. Dark Side. The delivery of the lyric, "Don't give a fuck if my heart stops beating." Reminds me of the famous Papa Roach lyric, "Don't give a fuck if I cut my arm bleeding."
Yeah.
He delivers it pretty much the exact same way. This is pretty straightforward metalcore here and a big sing-along chorus.
I found that weird too, and it did make me want to cut my life into pizzas using my plastic fork. But I bet you like this one a lot. It seems very Linkin Park. Like this could have come out in the new metal era, and I think it would have fit pretty well. But I did note very much like what you said. I think the lyrics are very on the nose and just kind of cheesy.
Yeah,
like I expected a little better, to be honest. Decent song overall, though. I mean,
yeah, I didn't mind. I like that song, but yeah, that line really stood out as like copycat.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? It was like, even the way he delivers it, it's like the same kind of lyrical cadence and stuff. Like it's like, all right, come on, Ollie. A Bullet with My Name On, featuring Under Oath.
Dumb name for a song.
Yeah. The transition at about 90 seconds in with the poppy stuff to the brutal breakdown was very different and smoothly done. With all the seamless electronic elements, it's going to be interesting to see how this band proceeds with Jordan Fish leaving recently.
Yeah, for sure. But this worked really well because if you know Under Oath, you know that they incorporate a lot of keyboard stuff, and it's a big part of their sound.
Mm-hmm. So you
These
can do
lyrics,
laptops
though,
now?
did my back hurt your knife? Let me kiss it better. This time I promise I'll die. Do the waltz with your alibi. And if Jesus Christ returns, we'll just kill that fucker twice.
Hey, that's what they put on the poster, and was it Australia that fucking pissed people off?
The most interesting thing about this, though, is that these lyrics were delivered by Spencer Chamberlain from Under Oath, and Under Oath was considered a Christian band for a large chunk of their career.
Yep.
So that was pretty entertaining to me. As far as the song, it sounds like an Under Oath song. Like if you were expecting to hear Under Oath, you're gonna be excited. They pulled it off.
OST Spiritual is a mostly electronic interlude that reminds me of something Hippie Sabotage would do. If you haven't checked out Hippie Sabotage and you like this song, go check them out.
Cool little interlude. Not necessary, but cool.
So NA starts off acoustic, again feeling like kind of like 90s alternative rock before it goes more emo, pop punk, and then there's some really heavy drum and bass hits. It's a wild mix of styles that somehow works. And then there's the line, "Oh, I'm Ollie. I'm an addict." Who else did that?
I don't know.
Hey, I'm Ronnie. I'm an addict.
Oh,
Yeah,
I didn't
it's
even
in a
realize
falling
that was a
reverse
thing.
track. Yeah, come on, Ollie. You got some good lyrics, but you're copying people with some of this stuff.
This is a strange song to me. Very much sounds like Cage the Elephant. Do you remember that band?
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Ain't No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like
that-
the song "Ain't No Rest for Wicked." That's a cool song. It was
I
very
feel
catchy.
like they could have written this song.
Yep.
Like it's super
does have
catchy.
that, yep.
It seems way out of place on a Bring Me the Horizon
Yep.
album, but hey, whatever.
Except for that when it really breaks down, then
Yeah.
that's not Cage the Elephant no more. Lost. What the fuck? This happy, hyper pop, electronic, weird ass shit. But I'll be damned if the chorus isn't fucking catchy. And again, there's a sick ass breakdown after it. I don't know what's going on here, but I kind of like it.
So this is basically the band, the starting line with some electronic backing elements. It's not bad, not groundbreaking music by any means. Not what I was expecting given all the hype for this album. A lot of it just seems like repurposed like emo punk stuff, like
Yeah.
things that you've heard other bands do before, and then they added a little bit of their own flair to it. But it's good for what it is, for sure.
Mhm. Strangers is a ballad, I guess. Again, alternative rock, catchy chorus. Again, I don't know, just kind of there.
Yeah, it's catchy. It's my least favorite song on the album, though. It's just kind of a standard pop punk song.
Yep.
Didn't really do a whole lot for me.
R.I.P. It's the Dusk Core remix. Right back into that weird electronic pop stuff here.
Yeah, very, very much just like a pop dance song.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It's done very well, but it's not super memorable either,
Amen features Little Uzi Vert and Darrow Palumbo of Glassjaw. This is actually my favorite track on the album. It's the heaviest track on the album, more in line with what we've known Bring Me to be over the years. The breakdown here is really fucking sick. How is this even the same band as the track we heard right before this? That's fucking wild, honestly.
Definitely, this was the only other single that I had heard from the album.
I think it was this and Kool-Aid were the only two I heard.
Yeah.
So.
It's one of my favorites for sure, if not my favorite.
And those
But
are the
come
heaviest-
on, I mean, it's fucking Darrow Palumbo from Glassjaw screaming his fucking balls off, man. It's sick.
It's the heaviest
And
two
then
tracks.
The rapping part actually blends really well with the rest of the song. I feel like they put these two guests on this song that are on opposite ends of the spectrum, and somehow they blended it together, much like another band that you just mentioned. When Falling in Reverse did the Tech Nine and the Alex Terrible.
Lil Uzi Vert's on another level right now. This is one of the most popular rappers in the world. I'm not personally a fan, but it's a smart move from Bring Me to pull more fans in.
Look, man, I honestly had no idea of that until you just told me. The only time I've ever heard of this man is when I listened to this song.
Huge. The first time.
I'm out of touch.
Yeah, I'm not a fan, but it is what it is. I like the song. OST Pussy is another interlude. Weird noises and audio clips, heavy bass and electronica. This is their EDM track, basically.
I was absolutely miserable listening to this song. Um, I fully support the addition of keyboards and electronic elements in music, but I cannot stand full-on techno music like this. It grates on my ears and frankly just puts me in an absolute shitty mood. Whew, it was rough.
Sorry.
I really hate techno music, dude. I can't do it.
Die For You is next. Is this Post Malone? The hard lefts become too much sometimes, and 40 seconds in, they turn it on you yet again with a huge scream before going back into that poppy stuff. But again, it's very catchy, and it gets stuck in your head, man.
Yeah, this is just a full-on pop song. Like, this could have easily been Imagine Dragons or insert random pop band here.
Yep.
Just did not like this one at all.
Dig It is the closer. For the first 2.5 minutes, they strip it all the way back down. It's a very melodic, heavy atmosphere before they add in some more electronic stuff. Then it goes into a complete harsh vocal and heavy double bass with electronic distortion that all cuts out as if it's glitching and going back into the beginning sound. It's as if it's a representation of Ali going back and forth with his mind, with his thoughts. And then at 5.5 minutes, it stops. But then at the 6:45 mark, you get an audio clip of what sounds like an AI named M8. She's actually the cover art. She comes and goes throughout the album at the beginning or the end of songs. Anyway, she's encountered a fatal error, and she says, enter safe mode, enter serial number on the side of my head, which is on the cover of the album. And for more information, go to, and then it gets all distorted and cuts out. Well, some smart-ass fans have put this all into some audio editing software, and we're able to capture a QR code or something that leads to a hidden website. On the website, there's unreleased tracks hidden, as well as a password-protected folder that hasn't been cracked as of this recording. There's other Easter eggs and rabbit holes yet to be discovered. It's all interesting stuff adding to the experience of the album and potentially the concept of these 4 albums together. I give the band a lot of credit for doing stuff like this, something different, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's only a few bands that are experimenting with this type of stuff right now.
Yep.
You know, you got bands like this, Falling in Reverse, Avenged Sevenfold's kind of went down that path a little bit. But that's pretty cool, man. I mean, because it's like when we were young, it was, you know, the hidden song on the end of the album.
You play the track backwards and see what it says, you know? It's just Satan speaking to you type of deals, you know what I mean? Stuff like
or
that.
Dennis mentioned to me recently that what I forgot about, the fucking enhanced CD where you put it into your CD player on your computer and it plays the music videos or whatever. So you got to look at innovative ways to do that, and that's pretty neat, man. And if you're one of those people that like can crack stuff like this, like send us a message. We want to talk to you on the show. I just want to understand, like, you know,
I've heard this links to a game too, which I
did hear that too.
Dove deep into it yet, but yeah,
but pretty cool. As far as the song, I can't say I dig it.
It's named Dig It. It was very informative. Go on. How'd you feel about the album though?
No, I thought the closing song was a little bit too self-indulgent and kind of boring. It reminded me of listening to, you know, something from the Melvins. Just kind of, you know, let's make it long just because we can. But you know what? They hid some like stuff in there, so that was cool.
Yeah.
So overall, this is a pretty interesting journey full of peaks and valleys. Despite having a lot of things in common with bands that I do like, Bring Me the Horizon has never really clicked for me completely.
I can agree with that.
I will say they put on a hell of a live show.
Yep, I agree with that too.
They've always been adjacent to things that I like, but I never really got into them. That said, I always approach my reviews objectively, and I rate based on if they're giving me what I expected from this particular style. The question with this album is, what is this style? Like, what are they doing here? There's a lot going on, so it made it a little bit trickier to really put a rating on this thing. But overall, I think the sound of the album, if I had to call it something, it's electronic emo punk.
Okay, yeah, that works.
You know, there's a little splash of metalcore, but not even enough to really.
It's so brief. I wish they'd do more of it, like for real.
This is not the type of album that I'd normally listen to, but I do think that they made a pretty cohesive album. I get why it's divisive, you know, as I'm sure a lot of the long-term fans really wanted a return to the roots type of album. It's highly unlikely that that's ever going to happen. If you're a Bring Me fan and you're listening to this, give up. They're not going to do that thing that you like anymore. They're going to do what they want to do.
They've grown.
But
Older.
judging this just on what they've given us here, I think this is a really well executed album. It is an emo punk album, and I think they accomplished what they set out to do. But I do think there's a few songs that just feel a little bit uninspired, a little lazy, which is surprising to me because they took extra time and delayed the release of the album initially. But I do think that this album is going to continue to push this band even further into the mainstream consciousness, which is a win overall for bringing more people into the metal scene. We need bands like this. They're on top of the world right now, and everybody's talking about them, whether you like the album or not. Overall, for me, this one is a 4 out of 6 upside down pentagrams.
Not bad. 4 out of 6. So I briefly touched on it last week for a band peaking in popularity, starting to headline festivals like Download. This album is a huge gamble. It's a polarizing album, but overall it seems to be getting positive reception overall from their fan base. I respect that they said, fuck what you expect us to do. We're going to do whatever the hell we want to do. Some of the experimenting weirdly works. Some of it misses, but overall it's one of the more interesting albums I've heard this year. It's just not all for me. I can't get down with all the poppy electronic stuff. Still, there's something weirdly appealing here. I really don't know how I feel about it completely yet, and I've listened to it 4 or 5 times. I think they're writing such good songs that even if it's not something I'd normally like, I'm kind of drawn to it.
Yes.
And fuck, honestly, I don't know what's going on. I guess I'm going to give it a 4.5 out of 6 for now. We'll revisit it later in the year, maybe. We'll see what happens, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Go check it out. Bring Me the Horizons, Posthuman, Next Gen, NXT Gen.